Hey everyone, welcome to Texas CDL Success. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the pre-trip inspection from start to finish, breaking everything down so you know exactly what to check and why it matters. My goal is to not only help you pass your CDL test but also give you the confidence to perform a proper inspection every time you hit the road. Let's get started. Initial safety procedures. Before anything, you want to make sure you're safe. First, chock your wheels to prevent any rolling. When you're getting into the truck, always use 3 points of contact, that's 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet in 1 hand. This keeps you stable as you climb in. And don't forget to put on your seatbelt before you start the engine. You've now completed the initial safety procedures check. Let's move on to the lighting indicator check. Lighting indicator check. Now that you're in the driver's seat, it's time to check your lighting indicators. Turn the key to the on position so you can see if the ABS light comes on and then goes off. This confirms the system is working properly. Start the engine, and now let's do a lighting check. First, check your left turn signal indicator. Make sure it's flashing as it should. Then, do the same for your right turn signal indicator. Don't forget your hazard lights, turn them on and check. Finally, confirm the high beam indicator is working. Make sure all of these lighting indicators are functioning properly. You've now completed the lighting indicator check. Let's move on to the emergency equipment check. Emergency equipment check. Now we'll check the emergency equipment to ensure you're prepared for any situation. Fire extinguisher, make sure it's properly mounted, secure, rated for your vehicle, and fully charged. Reflective triangles, ensure you have 3 triangles that are in good condition and ready to use. Spare fuses, have extra fuses for your truck's electrical system, and make sure they're in working order. You've now completed the emergency equipment check. Let's move on to the mirror and windshield check. Mirror and windshield check. Next, let's make sure your mirrors and windshield are in good shape for visibility. Mirrors, check that your mirrors are not cracked or broken, they should be clean, and properly adjusted for your line of sight. Windshield, inspect it to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked or broken, and that there are no illegal stickers on it. Washers and wipers, test your washers and wipers. They should be in good condition, not cracked, bent, or broken, and the wipers should lay flush against the windshield. You've now completed the mirror and windshield check. Let's move on to the heater and defrost check. Heater and defrost check. Let's make sure that you're ready for any weather conditions. Turn on the heater and defroster. Check to confirm airflow is coming from both the top and front vents. Ensure both systems are working properly to maintain visibility and comfort. You've now completed the heater and defrost check. Let's move on to the horn check. Horn check. Now, we need to check both your electric and air horns. Press each one to ensure that both horns are working properly. They should be loud and clear. You've now completed the horn check. Let's move on to the air brake check. Air brake check. Checking the air brakes is crucial for ensuring your braking system is working properly. Air gauge and governor cutoff check. Start by checking the air pressure, it should be around 120 psi. This shows the gauges are functioning correctly. Next, pump the air pressure down to 90 psi. This should trigger the compressor to kick on. Once the compressor starts, help the engine build pressure back up to around 120 psi. This is the governor cutoff, which confirms that the compressor is working as it should. You've now completed the air gauge and governor cutoff check. Let's move on to the air leakage test. Air leakage test, 3-step process. First, turn off the engine and ensure the key is in the off position. Next, push both the tractor and trailer knobs in. Finally, place your foot on the brake. Expect some initial air loss, but once the pressure stabilizes, start the timer. For a combination vehicle, the air pressure should not drop more than 4 psi within 1 minute. After 1 minute has passed, this part of the pre-trip inspection is complete, and you can move on to the next step. 1 minute has passed. You have completed the air leakage test and can now move on to the low air pressure warning test. Low air pressure warning test. Continue by fanning the brakes until the pressure drops no lower than 55 psi. At this point, the warning light and buzzer should activate, usually around 60 psi. You've now completed the low air pressure warning test. Let's move on to the emergency brake test. Emergency brake test. Continue to fan the air pressure down between 20 to 45 psi. The spring brakes should activate. Confirm that both the tractor and trailer's emergency brakes are functioning properly. You've now completed the emergency brake test. Let's rebuild air pressure. Rebuild air pressure. Finally, start the engine and assist in building the air pressure back up to 120 psi, the governor cutoff. Let the examiner know that you will now remove the chocks to perform the brake function test. Be sure to use 3 points of contact when exiting and re-entering the vehicle. You've now completed the air brake check. Let's move on to the brake function tests. Brake function tests. Now that your air brake system is checked, let's move on to testing the brakes for proper operation. Parking brake test. First, disengage the trailer brake and tug against the parking brake to ensure it holds the truck in place. Trailer brake test. Next, engage the trailer brake, disengage the parking brake, and tug against the trailer brake to confirm it works properly. Service brake test. Finally, disengage both the parking and trailer brakes, then allow the truck to roll forward slowly. Gently apply the brakes and check for smooth stopping and steering wheel stability. The truck should stop straight and without pulling to one side. You've now completed the brake function tests. Let's move on to the external light check. External light check. Now it's time to check the external lights to ensure everything is functioning properly. Ask the examiner to assist with this check. For the front lights, check that the headlights, high beams, clearance lights, left turn signal, right turn signal, and four-way flashers are all working properly. For the rear lights, confirm that the tail lights, brake lights, clearance lights, left turn signal, right turn signal, and four-way flashers are functioning as they should. You've now completed the external light check. Let's move on to the engine compartment check. Engine compartment check. For the engine compartment check, let's start with fluid levels. On the passenger side, check the coolant levels. They should be between the add and full marks. On the driver's side, check the power steering fluid. It should be between the add and full marks, and also check the oil level by using the dipstick to ensure it's at the proper level. Next, let's inspect for any fluid and air leaks. There should be no puddles or dripping fluids on the ground beneath the truck. All air hoses and connections should be properly connected, not cracked, damaged, or leaking. Finally, check the steering system. The power steering gearbox should be properly mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, and there should be no leaks. The steering hoses should be properly connected and free from abrasions, bulges, and cuts. They should also be leak-free. Visibly check the links, arms, and rods for any signs of damage. These should be securely mounted, not bent, broken, or damaged. You've now completed the engine compartment check. Let's move on to the suspension and brakes check. Suspension and brakes check. Let's move on to checking the suspension and brake system. Suspension. Check the spring mounts, they should be properly mounted, and not bent, broken, or damaged. The leaf springs should be properly mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, or shifted out of place. Shocks should be properly mounted, not cracked, damaged, or leaking. Brakes. Inspect the brake hoses and lines. They should be properly mounted, not cracked, damaged, or leaking. Make sure there are no oil or grease on the brake lining or drum, as this can interfere with braking performance. You've now completed the suspension and brakes check. Let's move on to the tires and wheels check. Tires and wheels check. Now let's move to the tires and wheels to ensure they are safe and in good condition. Tires. Start by checking the inflation. Your tires should be properly inflated, based on the manufacturer's recommendations. Inspect the condition of the tires. There should be no cuts, bulges, or other visible damage. Check the tread depth. The front tires should have at least 430 seconds of tread, while the rear tires need at least 230 seconds. Rims. Ensure the rims are properly mounted and are not cracked, bent, or broken. Lug nuts. Confirm that all lug nuts are present and look for any shiny threads or rust trails, which can indicate looseness. You've now completed the suspension and brakes check. Let's move on to the vehicle side and rear check. Vehicle side and rear check. Next, let's move to the vehicle side and rear. Lenses and reflectors. Check that all lenses and reflectors are properly mounted, the correct color, clean, and not cracked or broken. Mirrors. Ensure the mirrors are clean, not cracked or broken, and properly mounted. Fuel tank. The fuel tank should be properly mounted, not cracked, broken, or leaking. Make sure the fuel cap is tight and that there are no leaks. Batteries. Check that the batteries are properly mounted, with connections not corroded. The battery box cover should be secured. You've now completed the vehicle side and rear check. Let's move on to the frame and coupling check. Frame and coupling check. Let's review the steps for completing the frame and coupling check. Frame. Check that the frame is properly mounted and is not cracked, bent, or broken. There should be no illegal welds. Crossmembers. Ensure that crossmembers are properly mounted and not cracked, bent, or broken. Air and electric lines. Check that air and electric lines are properly connected, not leaking, not dragging, and not pinched. Fifth wheel skid plate. Make sure the fifth wheel skid plate is properly mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, and is properly greased. Kingpin. Check the kingpin for proper mounting, ensuring it's not cracked, bent, or broken. Safety and locking mechanism. Confirm that the safety and locking mechanism is engaged, and the locking jaws are securely around the kingpin. You've now completed the frame and coupling check. Let's move on to the trailer and combination vehicle check. Trailer and combination vehicle check. Let's review the steps for completing the trailer and combination vehicle check. Landing gear. Ensure the landing gear is in the raised position and is not cracked, bent, or broken. DOT reflective tape. Check that the reflective tape is properly affixed, clean, and visible. Lenses and reflectors. Ensure all lenses and reflectors are the correct color, clean, and not cracked or broken. You've now completed the entire pre-trip inspection. Let the examiner know you're finished. Remember, take your time, be confident, and explain everything clearly during your test. Good luck and thanks for watching.